and somebody may notice this, but these are not the factory rotors or calipers. These are actually rotor and calipers from the V8 Pathfinder, and I'm sure you've heard guys talk about that. You've maybe seen me talk about that, how this is a really nice upgrade in my opinion for the Frontier, and that it does improve braking. Is it significant? You know, I try to be careful with the words that I use, and sometimes I probably need to be a little more careful, but I do try to be mindful of the phrasing that I use when I describe the impact that a modification has. So is it significant? No. I'm not going to say that it goes from, you know, being really soft and this modification alone does anything to, you know, now you barely put on the brakes and it throws you through the windshield kind of thing. No, you're not going to see that kind of difference, that kind of change. Is it going to be noticeable? Absolutely. Are you going to feel a difference and improvement? Yes, I believe that you will. I did. And you know, some people may say, well, was that maybe also because you did the stainless steel brake lines? And you know, I think that did play a role in it. I did do the fronts first, and then I did the stainless steel lines in the back. So yes, the front calipers did get you know, installed with the brake lines at the same time, but not all four. And the difference just in the front was very distinctive. And while I do attribute some of that, yes, to the stainless steel lines, not everything. You know, and I'm glad people don't have bad experiences with the stock brakes. Kudos to you. But for those people that be like, oh, I don't have that problem, so you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, you don't know what we're talking about, because the, you know, a whole bunch of us guys do have this issue, and have with multiple vehicles. I've only driven maybe one or two Frontiers that did not have this issue. So keep that in mind. You know, be thankful if you have not had that experience. Great. But when people talk about those kinds of things, don't dismiss it. Don't you know, blow them off. You know, just maybe don't post. You know, scroll on, guys. So if you can't relate, then you don't know what we're talking about, then don't worry about it. Clearly that's not going to pertain to you. One thing to note, that if you do decide for the upgrade, and I don't know if anybody noticed it, but this is actually the right side caliper. The Pathfinder brakes are on the front of the rotor, not the back. So when you install them on the Frontier, they're going to be on the back side, the opposite side, and you want the bleed plug, the port, to be on top. If you install it on the side that it says, then this is going to be on the bottom. You're going to have issues, and I know there's been at least one or two guys that I'm aware of who did that. Honest mistake to make. But if you want to avoid that, it's not a problem at all. Just, you know, switch sides. Doesn't create any issue. It puts your port up on top for the bleeder valve, and it's really just that simple. Nothing more to it than that. I will go ahead and say the question may be, okay, what is the difference? It's still dual piston calipers. The big thing about it is that the bracket, so if you do buy and do this swap, you not only need the calipers, you need the bracket. The bracket is the main thing, because the diameter of the rotor is an inch larger. And so I think, if I remember correctly, it goes from 11.5 on the Frontier to 12.5 with the Pathfinder. And so this bracket extends the caliper out. And you do need the caliper, so you can't just get the bracket and say, oh, okay, I'll use the Frontier calipers. It doesn't work that way, because the caliper does accommodate the larger pads, and I don't have a comparison here, but naturally this pad is going to conform to this rotor all the way from the inside to the outside to give you the full coverage. So you have basically with an inch more diameter, it basically gives you a ½ inch right here, and so that means this pad is a ½ inch larger, so you have greater surface area to clamp down for braking force. Plus, with the rotor being out more, you are clamping down further out, which further improves braking with what you've got. So bigger pad, larger diameter rotor combined just really does great. You don't have to do the stainless steel. I did that really just because of my lift. These are extended brake lines is ultimately what it boils down to, and so with the extended lines, I wanted to go ahead and do the stainless. Just made sense, to help improve braking all around. That's the route I went. So it wasn't really much more to go stainless steel with the extended lines than sticking with the standard kind of rubber line. So that was part of the decision making there. So that's a nutshell here with the V8 Pathfinder. Larger rotor, bigger, a little bit bigger calipers to accommodate the pads, but they're still dual piston, and you definitely got to get the bracket for it. You've got to get the pads for the V8 Pathfinder as well. It's not expensive at all. I think when I did this, I probably pads, calipers, and stainless steel lines, I think I had maybe $450 and everything. So these are remanufactured. I think I got them at AutoZone. You just get them again with the bracket, and then I think the pads were maybe $60-70, somewhere around that. The calipers or the rotors were probably around 100, I think. So I don't know what the prices are now. You'll have to check, but you're still looking at easily 500 or less, which I think for the upgrade is really great. It's puts it really in people's price range, especially if you are already having to replace calipers. Then this kind of makes it kind of a no-brainer. If you're already paying that money, go ahead and put it where in an upgrade is my thought. So that sums it up. Any questions or comments, put them below, and I'll get back to you. Thanks, guys. Take care.